Ladies and gentlemen, it's David Hall here, founder and chief executive of the Ideas Centre, and here to share with you a really cool, quick creativity technique, all to do with post-it note exchanges. The entire process from start to finish can be delivered within 3 minutes, I reckon. No residential weekends, no hugging trees, no being tied together with ribbons, no expensive consultants. It's a quick technique. The process starts by the facilitator giving everyone involved in the group 2 post-it notes. On one post-it note, they're invited to write down a problem, something they've been trying to solve for quite some time, but whatever they're trying, it just won't go away. So they write that down on the first of the post-it notes. On the second post-it note, they're invited to write down a solution to that problem, but the solution needs to be unconstrained by any reality whatsoever. It can be crazy, it can be bonkers, but it must definitely solve the problem, if only it were possible. It's what we refer to as an intermediate impossible, a stepping stone towards creativity. What we then do is get everyone to stand up and have a wander around, and when they bump into someone that they don't normally work with, what they need to do is exchange solutions with each other. They must not exchange the problems, those are their problems, they can't get rid of them and farm them off to anyone else. But what we need to do is everyone to exchange their solution with someone else, ideally someone that they don't normally work closely with. Someone who's going to have a very different type of problem statement. What each individual then has to do is go and sit down and to review their 2 post-it notes. Clearly their problem remains unchanged. It is their problem. It's the one they started with. But the solution is going to be a crazy solution from someone else's problem that they've never seen. The trick then is to look hard at that solution and use it as the start point for trying to solve your own personal issue that you've written down. There must be something in there that makes you think differently, that gives you a different perspective on that problem. And that's the germ of the novelty that you're looking to grab hold of. This ridiculous solution you've inherited is merely a source of novel ideas. Don't forget, the problem that you've been struggling with is locked within your world of what is, and you've been trying to solve the problem from that perspective, trying a whole bunch of useful, pre-wired ideas in your brain that quite frankly aren't working. This random solution you've now inherited, ridiculous though it may be, is dragging you outside that world of what is so you can look differently, so you can start to form new connections in your brain. And you want to shuttle between the novelty of the ideas that emerge and the useful world of what is until you manage to identify a solution that drags you out of the world of what is, but you know what? Just might work. That's the novel and useful idea, the germ of an idea that you now need to grab hold of and incubate as the creative outcome. The entire process takes less than 3 minutes. I reckon it takes less than a minute to write down your problem statement and write down a crazy solution. You then have to stand up, wander around, exchange your solutions with someone else. That can't take more than a minute, for goodness sake. You then have a minute to play around with that ridiculous idea that you've inherited to see if you can generate that germ of a novel and useful idea. Top tips for facilitators. People often rush in with a flood of useful thinking and grab any aspect of that solution that can be rationalised within their world of what is, effectively suppressing the novel in favour of the much more comfortable but more of the same useful. You need to encourage everyone to suspend judgment and play with the 2 thoughts, the problem and the ridiculous solution. The ridiculous solution, never forget, is the source of the novelty, but inherently is going to be fragile because it represents a new thought process, a new connection in the brain. Recognise as well that beyond the initial 3-minute exercise, it might take a reasonable length of time for that germ of an idea to incubate, to crystallise around a genuinely novel and useful idea. If 24 hours after the event, the problem owner goes, "Crikey, you know what? I think I've got it." Then how cool is that? The exercise itself may only take 3 minutes, but the brain needs to subconsciously work on it, playing with the novel and useful until it crystallises that final creative idea. If it works, generating an idea that the problem owner had never thought of before, then how fantastic is that? If it fails, you've wasted 3 minutes of your time. What's not to like, for goodness sake? And do the maths. If you have 10 people in the room, there are 90, yes, 90, potentially creative exchanges that could take place. If you just exchange with one person, then effectively you have 10 creative moments. But each one of those people could, of course, exchange their solutions with someone else that's in the room. It's a fabulous, quick technique.